I'm so tired.
Hanging on.
So I had my kid's first week of daycare was last week, right? Yeah, he turned 1 on Friday.
Oh, wow.
So, like, we just kept him for the whole first year because of COVID and stuff. And, you know, he got sick immediately the first week.
Oh, no.
You know, because he's not, you know,
Filing in.
you spend the first 6 months in daycare basically building up an immunity to
Yeah.
everything. You know.
Yes, of course, it's his first exposure to human evil. It's just like immediate illness.
One of our faces here. What's up, everybody? We're getting set up for a live show. Thanks for joining us. Ooh, Paul is here as well. Jason, Vicky. What's up, y'all? Thanks for joining us on this holiday. It is technically a holiday today, so.
Oh, yeah, it is a holiday.
Just chilling. Probably short show today.
It is a holiday.
Yeah.
I've become totally bored from reality.
Right.
I don't know what's going on.
Every day's a holiday.
I should have known that. I'm on Twitter.
Yeah, we'll probably go, because you've been on before. We don't have all the things that we always do with new artists that haven't been on before, like all the recommend stuff. But we'll probably go an hour, hour and a half, something like that.
All good.
Not too long
Just chilling
today.
here.
Matt
Dude,
and I
did
are
you see
swamped.
Into the Ether just went up to $6,500?
Oh, yeah.
Someone put a global thing out there. That's so crazy.
Holding on to it. Holding
Yeah.
on to it.
Dude, that Beeple artwork's gonna be worth like $10,000 to $20,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be awesome.
All right.
I'm gonna finally sell it and pay off half my student loans.
Like gonna retire? I don't know.
Right.
This is
Now that's my
episode
signed
268.
one. The signed one
Yeah.
that's personal, personalized, and because he had a whole bunch of prints. I don't know if you were at Sigraph or Half Res when he was doing this, but he had a whole bunch of prints and he was like doodling on them.
That's
you
cool.
know?
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And then he signed it and he named it something different. So it's like totally original Beeple artwork.
Legit.
That one is my retirement.
All right,
Yeah,
everybody
gotta
ready?
take that away.
I'm rolling on my audition here.
Test. Yeah, rolling on.
Yeah, I got some record going.
All right, we're gonna do a sync clap. It'll be 1, 2, 3, clap. Ready?
Got it.
1, 2, 3.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Crisp.
Cool.
Fresh.
All right. If you have any waveform
Like
issues,
that
just
up.
let us know. We'll pause for the cause. But other than that,
Cool.
I know
Good.
y'all are jonesing to chat. I had to keep y'all
Yeah,
from chatting
sorry.
before the show, wasting all the
Sorry.
good chatter. Wasting all the good
That's
chatter
true.
on
Can't
each
help
other.
it.
God,
You just get two cool people who like to talk.
I know.
You know, like we're gonna have
Same
we got some
room.
socializing to do.
Quote-unquote, Same room.
Right?
Haven't seen anybody in about 10 million years.
Right.
So
All right. If everybody is rolling, I think we'll just start this thing going. I should probably mute my phone. All right. There we go. Charging. Tell me you're charging, phone. Are you charging? Are you charging? You need to charge because you're almost dead. Charging. Say it. Say the thing.
charging.
Say the thing.
I am
That's
your
good.
phone.
There
Hello,
it goes.
Dave.
There it goes.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Hello, Dave. She can do that. All right.
Energy. That tastes good.
It's been days. I was dying.
Uh,
Yeah, actually, let's not put personalities in our
Yeah.
phones. I would not feel good about that.
hello, Smithers. You are good at turning me on.
Probably ignore that.
Probably ignore that, Mr. Burns. All right, here we go. You ready?
All right, let's do it.
What's up, and welcome to another Mograph Mocast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt, and joining us today is one of my favorite people in the entire world, our good friend, Caitlin Cadieux.
What's up, y'all? I'm Kaylin Cadieux.
And Mograph
can
is a
see.
supplement to our site, mograph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other Mograph stuff. And on the show, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects plugins, render engines, doing business, doing taxes, being a contractor, or working for the man. You can email us info@mograph.com. Let us know what you think about the show. Questions, comments, concerns, queries, grievances, show topic ideas, artist suggestions. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, mograph.com, all the things. Whew. Send us something. Noob, expert, Doesn't matter what your question is, just hit us up. Let us know. If you want to know what's a keyframe, just ask us what's a keyframe. If you want to know what is a complex hierarchy filled with many multiple, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just making things up.
Now.
Did I hear a niner in there?
I was like, all right, I'm following you.
Don't
I got
ask
it.
him
All
that
right,
because you don't know.
If you want to know about complex OSL shaders within your camera
Don't ask
tags
me.
and
No.
Octane,
We could probably
you
find
could ask
someone.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is a keyframe? Yeah, nice. How is a keyframe?
Yeah, everyone asks what is a keyframe. They never ask
how
how
is a keyframe?
Or
Yeah,
even
yeah.
why, honestly.
Exactly. How to keyframe. What render engine best?
Yes.
Still, so many people ask that question. Still.
It's too many of them. I don't know. I'm out of that loop in a big way.
BestRenderEngine.com. That's all you
Oh,
gotta
boy.
know. If anybody asks you, BestRenderEngine.com.
When is a keyframe?
Why is a keyframe? What makes an MC?
We really
What
need a
makes a
T-shirt
DJ?
that said which render engine best, or something like that.
Yeah.
Just like the most ridiculous. That'd be good. I like that.
Render engine. That
Yeah.
render is fire.
What render engine?
Rat render
Wat
engine.
render engine. So hit us up and ask us Wat render engine, and then we will introduce you to bestrenderengine.com, and you can check it out for yourself. There's so many questions about that still. It's just like, dude, just try them. Try them.
Yeah, try them all. Try them all.
What do you like? There's demos. Which one do you like? What do you like? What works for you? No?
Oh,
Yes.
this is gonna be bad. Because you're commenting in
trolling
the chat, as well.
silently.
Sorry.
No, I'm
hard-hitting
very
questions.
impressed that you're able to
I know,
'cause
you're
I
very good
can't
at that.
focus that well.
Yes.
I got, I'm always containing this big brain.
I like the question though. We got to read it.
Yeah.
Could God make a
could God
cube?
make a cube so big even he couldn't render it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Could
I don't know.
God
Bringing that into the modern day.
could God make a scene so big that even he didn't have enough VRAM?
Maybe that's what Earth is.
That's true. The universe.
You know?
yeah, yeah.
It's one.
A lot
Oh,
going
boy.
on.
It's 1,000,000 bajillion trillion GTX.
The TI.
TI.
Yeah.
RTX Infinity.
Right.
Anyway, speaking of rendering, you know what you
Speaking.
don't have to render in
What?
is Unreal
What?
Engine, because it's real
Yeah.
time. And
Yes.
feeding,
I have heard that.
I mean,
Yeah.
technically, you do render at
It's
the
just real
end.
time.
If you're rendering cinematic, it's just fast.
Yeah, that's the universe we're in. It's the
Arguing
real time one,
semantics.
right?
Yeah. Well, it's a simulation, so.
Yeah. But if you follow us on Instagram, you probably notice that we put a lot of stories out. What do you call it? Is it still regramming if it's a story? You're reposting
Yeah.
the story, regram story.
I am not
storying?
hip with the lingo,
I've
and I don't
never
even know how to
regrammed.
regram someone's
Yeah.
thing.
I actually don't know how to do that.
Have you
Unless
ever-
someone tags me in it, then I say, "Oh yeah, send it to my timeline." But that's all I know how to do.
Yeah, like you've like posted someone else's story before,
Yeah.
right? Is
Well,
that a regram?
as long as they tag me in it.
Yeah,
Right.
then you can
If no
share.
one tags me,
Yeah.
then I don't know how to share something.
Okay. Well, that's
It's a complex network of
Yeah.
all manner of stuff.
yeah. It's
Who's
yeah.
to say?
It's nice. But anyway, if you look at our stories on occasion, you'll notice that we do re-story Feeding Wolves a lot, who has been working through, or finished, I think, Jonathan Winbush's course, and has posted a lot of things that she's learned, and not just in the course, but stuff that she's learned from his tutorials. She's been working with Capture Suit, Rococo, I think.
Fun.
And so she created this little short, and I'll post a link to it in the notes, and you can check it out. It's like an ice world, and there's a giant, like, robot person, kind of like cyberpunkish robot
Whoa.
person that does, like,
I'm looking at it now
you know.
on the gram.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of,
Yeah.
what up? What up?
And there's
Holy
Jonathan
shit, hello.
Winbush. Speaking of which, and so Jonathan Winbush actually sent the link to me last night. So we're going to do a special probably sometime in February. We got to work out the details and get a couple people on who have taken the class and who have created stuff with it, because so many people are sending really cool things that they've done in Unreal. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out Creating the Unreal, because it's awesome. And while you're at it, check out Stop Being Afraid of Houdini and our AR crash course for Spark, and check all that stuff out, yo. And also, you can also check out Caitlin's podcast. Let's talk about that for a second. So, give us the.
We just got serious.
Yeah, it got serious. We're talking podcasting. So tell us about your podcast. You've got how many episodes now? Is it 3?
Ooh, I think there are 4 now. Well, I'm gonna just get a quick rundown. It's called Cartoon Feelings because that is what it is about primarily. So, and a lot of it is like 2D animation, which is pretty much all I'm like doing these days anymore. Really, is like 2D stuff, which is kind of wild to me, but that's a whole different thing. But a friend of mine, Ira Marks, who lives locally here as well, but he's a comics artist, so like not animation, anything like that, really. But we both just like, as every great podcast is born, like anytime we would hang out, we would just like sit in a bar for like 4 hours and like dissect minutely the directing career of like every animated film and like studio and whatever. And not even just animated stuff, but that was kind of a common thread for what we were talking about. So we're like, well, he was like, let's make this a podcast. Because we're like really starting to get over analytical with some of this stuff, but in a fun way that like we're about. And so that's the podcast. And there's 4 episodes right now, and they're all Pixar movies, where the first 2 are just kind of like, hi, welcome to This Is Who We Are, I guess. And we just kind of ramble on about all of the Pixar movies. We tried to do a top 5, like most foundational films to Pixar. Not just like top 5 favorites, but like what makes Pixar, like why they have such a strong flavor and personality. We end up talking about every single freaking Pixar movie because like how could you not?
Right.
And that's a 2-part episode. And then we spend some time with The Incredibles, for better for worse. Check those out. Maybe we do the sequel too. And on this coming Wednesday, we'll have an episode about Soul, because that's kind of where we're leading up to like Soul, which we didn't know this at the time when we started it, but Soul is definitely like the Pixar movie. Like it feels like peak Pixar in so many ways.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean, check it out if you're into Pixar stuff at all. It really feels like this is where they've been going for, so long in a lot of ways. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But then we're going to start to do different stuff, and we have I believe our next episode after that is Into the Spider-Verse, which is the greatest movie that's ever been made ever.
Yeah.
And
it's the best.
Yeah, and then who knows what we're going to get into next. We have some fun stuff, playing different ideas. And then, we got a couple other movies already recorded for down the line. I think we're gearing up to do a Cartoon Saloon run of movies. I don't know if you've seen, it's an Irish 2D animation studio, and they're really freaking cool. And their last movie, Wolfwalkers, just came out. Obviously, I don't think it had a theatrical release in the U.S. because of coronavirus, but it did in the UK and some places. And it's on Apple TV now.
On Apple TV Plus. Yeah.
Yeah, really cute. I loved it as an adult. I have heard from people with kids that their kids love it. Fun for the whole family. I loved it so much. So, and then who knows what we're gonna do?
Cool.
Are the feelings your feelings or the cartoon's feelings? Their feelings.
That is a great question.
Yeah.
It's our feelings for sure.
The cartoon.
Okay.
Not just or just about them.
Is it, the cartoons are giving you feelings, and so those are
they can. Yeah. They certainly can. Like Pixar, a lot of it is talking about how formative they were for us in a way, and then also some complaining. So like The Incredibles, I think is an interesting episode to start with, because obviously everybody loves The Incredibles. It's a great movie, but there's a lot of weird stuff in that movie too. So we talk about all that. And then, not to spoil it, but The Incredibles 2 episode is mostly about why that movie wasn't good.
Okay.
So we go a little negative on that one, but we try to figure out why that is, like why that movie kind of comes off the way it does to us and different stuff like that. And then like, it's not out yet, but the Spider-Verse episode is kind of the opposite, where we're like, why do we love this movie so much? It's so good. And then we try to kind of figure out why that is, and what storytelling or whatever about it. I want to show you guys something really quickly just to kind of show where this comes from. Let me see if I can maneuver this. No, I don't think you can. Like, there's a giant poster in my office. It's just like Woody and Buzz. It's literally a screen cap from Toy Story 2, I think, that I've had for forever. And it's just like, I don't know. It's a guiding light for me, I think, in a lot of ways. So you can't help but be. I don't have any. I don't know. If Pixar wanted to hire me, feel free to do that. You could definitely contact me. That's fine. But that was my with a lot of animators, that was my aspiration as a kid.
Yeah.
So I think, just like looking back on the stuff that inspired you to do creative work and like figure out, kind of work through those feelings. Yeah. We've joked about, we don't have a Patreon or anything yet, but if we launch one, we've joked about calling it cartoon therapy. So it's like, you've got the cartoon feelings, we're dredging all those up, and then maybe in the Patreon we can kind of work through them in a little bit more of a firm way. I don't know if we'll do that or not, but
when I was in college, everyone, like all the 3D animators, that was where they wanted to go. We had one success story at the Art Institute of Dallas about one person who went to go work for Pixar. It's like, oh, we all want to be like him. Me, I was in the video production, and I was like, oh yeah, that'd be great, but
like whatever.
And then I moved over to 3D, and it's like, oh, that'd be cool, but I'm gonna do something different because I'm too old now.
And I totally, I feel that too. I turned 30 like at the end of 2020 now, so I'm like, I don't know, in that new stage of life, figuring that stuff out. But it is interesting because I've talked about this before, but like my whole deal in high school and like growing up, I was like, I'm going to be a 3D character animator. And I'm like, going to go to SCAD for 3D character animation. And I just couldn't afford it. And so I didn't. Now it's kind of interesting to think of like, if I had done that, what would I be doing now? Because
I think about that sometimes.
Yeah, like these kind of monumental decisions you make sort of when you're young, and who knows? I mean, it's totally a different track than anything I've ended up doing, even when I've done 3D work. It was kind of strange.
I think I'd be a private investigator.
Honestly, that doesn't sound too bad.
I think it'd be fun. I'd get a van.
Yeah.
Get a whole bunch of
and
cool
just
camera
sit and watch people all day.
Yeah.
You're not on the computer, or at least, I don't know, maybe PIs in the modern time are on the computer a lot. I guess I could see that.
I think so, yeah.
Probably have a lot of memberships to those sites that do like background checks and stuff.
Yeah, I can see that.
Deep web or whatever, 24/7, like dark hunting through people's internet files. Yeah, deep web, what the fuck? Dark web. I've never seen it.
At my old job where we would edit people's home videos and stuff, we used to have a few private investigators who came in all the time, where they would literally just sit and like follow people's boyfriends or girlfriends to see if they were cheating or something like that. Gosh, that job was so depressing.
Did you ever work with the Cheaters show?
No, but I had a couple of friends who were on it, and like it was total BS. It was all fake.
Are you
and
sure?
They said, oh yeah,
because somebody in the chat, I believe, actually worked on that show. That'd be interesting.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, bust this wide open.
Yeah, bust it open.
Well, I have been told. I've also been told that Jerry Springer was fake, and you got paid based on how many times you started a fight, or so on and so on.
Really?
I do, but honestly, I would believe that.
Yeah.
It really ruins the magic for you when you find out stuff like that.
Yeah, it's all because
I was so invested before. I was like, this is real human drama.
See, look, VJ, he is a lead cameraman for Cheaters. Oh,
is Cheaters still on the air?
Is it still on the air?
You're wrong,
I didn't
Matt.
know. I told you, Matt. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Wow, I didn't even know it was still on the air.
Wow.
Yeah, but how long have you been doing it?
Wow. Like. That's a long time. I'm pretty sure he's been working
on that. That is a long time.
As long as
I remember it going on when I was in high school, which was a very, very long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't even thought about that show in about 1,000. Wow. Yeah, in roughly 15 years. I haven't thought about it.
15 years. 15 years he's been working on. And the thing is, like, the reason I saw it back in the day is because we didn't have all of this, like, on-demand media when it started. You'd always see Cheaters on TV, like in the afternoons or things like that. I didn't know it was still around.
I'd actually forgotten about a lot of this stuff until I was rewatching my husband and I watched the Austin Powers movies recently, which
stuff.
we hadn't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And there is, I think in either the second or the third one, I don't remember which now, they do like a Jerry Springer bit where like Dr. Evil and like Seth Green are on. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot all about that this show even existed. Maybe it's Maury. I don't remember.
It was Jerry Springer. It was Jerry Springer.
Because he's in it. Like he's the host. And it's just like, holy like that movie is so of its time.
Yeah.
Great though.
They need to make a fourth Austin Powers movie.
I would love it if they did. I actually looked it up. And the Wikipedia page is like they've been trying to do it or talking about it for like 15 years at this point. And I'm like, somebody just needs to commit, just make it. And I want to know what that would look like in the modern day.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I need to know that. Because it's like in the first movie, they're like, it's the 90s. Like, it's the 90s. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is from so long ago.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But I mean, I also need to know how it wrapped up, you know, because apparently, you know, spoiler, the end of the third movie, you know, you find out Austin Powers and Dr. Evil are brothers, you know, and then Seth Green's character, Scott Evil.
Evil,
He's evil now.
Comes full circle.
Right? So, I don't know.
The cycle never ends. Cycle of violence.
Part of British pride dies with each movie. That's funny.
I would also like to say on your podcast, that is not you, by the way, singing at the beginning.
No.
Just
I'd like to put out a quick PSA.
Sounds like you
to everyone. I know it's really bizarre to me.
Maybe
we should tweak it. It's not me. I swear to God.
Okay, just checking.
I don't know, but so many people have been like, do I detect like Kaylin Cadieux singing on this? And I'm like, you sure don't. That is not me. It's uncanny. I don't know. Maybe we got to re-record the vocals on that and be like, do it again, but like, get me out of there.
Yeah.
None of that in there.
Can you have a little less Caitlin in there?
Yeah, which normally I'm like, no, more.
Yeah.
Just personally. But
well, we're glad that you joined our network. It's a really good way to get the word out on some of these motion graphics podcasts, because honestly, let's be honest, like motion graphics podcasts are pretty niche in the grand scheme of things with podcasts.
Yes.
So it's hard for us to climb in the ranks and things and get the word out. So we're gonna promote each other and whatnot, and you'll probably be hearing a little promo at some point on Cartoon Feelings, just like you hear with Go Gorilla. So
we're gonna put something together. Kind of give people the flavor. Maybe talk a little bit more about, you know, right now all we have are episodes kind of breaking down movies and storytelling and stuff, but we definitely have other stuff we want to get into. We'll see more on this as it develops.
Is it all going to be like movies but like, for me, when I think cartoons, I think back to the classic like Looney Tunes, Tex Avery style cartoons.
Yeah.
And those were my influences.
I love those.
Like I used to go like before bed every night for like an hour. I would watch nothing but like Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry and what was it? The Ant versus the Aardvark or whatever, you know, and tons of Tex Avery. Ant versus the Aardvark. It was very similar to like the Pink Panther cartoons and stuff like that. You know, it was really good, really good.
Animals duking it out in these.
I know,
cartoons.
Right? I loved
That's awesome.
to get up at like 6 a.m. and watch Pink Panther reruns growing up. That was good.
Yeah, we will definitely, because I think even by our definition, we might at some point get more into comic stuff too, which is definitely Ira's forte, because he's a comics artist. He's like working on graphic novels. Look him up. Cool dude. My background is not as much that, but I think we're really interested. A lot of it is about telling stories, and like storytelling, I feel like is something that we gravitate to a lot when we're talking about it. So it feels like more than that. I'm just spoiling all these future episodes, but the next one that we're going to record, I believe.
Teasing the future episode.
Yeah, give you a little taste, is we want to talk about Pixar's last short that came out. So I guess presumably if you'd seen Soul in theaters, this would have been, you know, the preceding short. Pixar's like, you know, always done stuff like that. And it's called Burrow, and it's this really cute little animal story, but it's short form, you know, it's like probably like 2 or 3 minutes, maybe if even that. And we want to talk about that and then talk about short film and all this stuff. It's just a different, way to. So I'm hoping there's not a lot of filmmaking in terms of technical stuff that we get into or anything like that. But I like to think that, people who are interested in writing their own original content might get something out of it. Because we're just, we're dissecting, like, why does this work? Like, why is it fun? Or what are the influences that people are drawing from? Why did they make these choices? And then if we don't feel like those are the right choices, we'll talk about why, all with, the little disclaimer that we're not, freaking movie geniuses, like scions of storytelling, whatever. So there's always like the alternate viewpoint. And if anybody wants to yell at us about that, they're certainly welcome to, honestly. Like, love to have a dialogue about that. But yeah, just kind of, peeping any of that stuff. And we don't have any plans, I guess, concretely to talk about stuff like Looney Tunes, but I think about those a lot.
It'd be fun,
or like the old Disney shorts that were kind of like that.
HBO Max, one of the cool things that I loved about it, or that I love about it, is that it's got every single old Looney Tune cartoon on there.
Does? I need to go hit this
every
up.
single one.
That's
yes.
awesome.
I didn't know
From
that.
like the old black and white ones all the way up,
Wow.
And it is so cool. Like, I'll just pop those on like while I'm hanging out with my kids and just let them run, and it's so nostalgic to like sit back and watch.
Even the racist ones,
and
do they put the racist ones in there still?
I think there may be still some racist ones.
Wow.
Yes.
I would be, like their go-to for those. Like, I have big DVD box sets of Looney Tunes, and they keep the racist cartoons on there. They just have a disclaimer at the start that's like, hey, and Disney Plus is doing the same thing too, actually, for some of like, I watched Lady and the Tramp recently, as one does.
Yeah.
And it had the same thing because it's full of like racial stereotypes.
The Siamese cats.
So it's kind of cool. Yeah. That they're just like, hey, by the way, like, we know that this sucks.
Yeah.
Here's the
But,
movie.
that's how it was back then. So
Yeah.
That's interesting. There were some Looney Tunes deals that I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, looking back now, and I remember seeing it as a kid and didn't really think anything of it, but good lord.
Yeah,
it's really blatant.
Yeah.
Some of it.
Yeah,
It's very shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there was the one with, like, I don't know, it was like Bugs Bunny and Porky Pig or something, and someone gets on a plane to go somewhere, and it's like Africa. It's like showing on the map, and it's like darker Africa. And it like,
I don't remember.
Like,
you know what? I slightly do remember that.
Yeah. It's rough stuff, but it's good to know about it. It's good to be aware of it.
Yeah.
And it's funny. Yeah. Like, animation is like that. Film is like that. Everything's like that. Like, you grow up loving it, and then you look back and you're like,
you realize how things
that's
changed.
stuff we talk about too in Cartoon Feelings too, is just like being honest about all of it. It's just like, of course I love old Disney stuff, but like, it was also really messed up. And you can just, I don't know, reckon with that kind of, I guess.
I even wonder about the stuff we watch now, like on Family Guy, some of the gay jokes and things that they made back in like 1999. You watch it now and it's like, ooh, man.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So
I was a huge fan of the Tex Avery, like, it was like A Day in the Life or A Look into the Future, like the future car or the future house, or the future farm or something like that. And it was like, it would show off all these like super cool things. And they always made the same joke about the mother-in-law, like, here's the, in this house, everyone has their own entrance, for the father, for the mother, for the kids, and for the mother-in-law,
and it goes directly into like a meat grinder or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Something like
That's I mean, it's all like, this isn't funny in the same way, but I will say, just like springboarding on this and talking about it, like, I love that Disney Plus has a lot of the old Disney stuff on it too. Not just, old Disney movies, whatever, but the shorts too. And I had never seen this one before until recently, but as part of this podcast, we were talking about it, and they had like, I don't remember the name of it, but there was the show where Walt Disney would actually like come on TV and be like, I'm going to show you the world of the future, like whatever it was.
Yeah, the Sunday whatever.
Yeah, and they would do really cool, like random topics. And one of them was this Mars and Beyond short. I don't know if you have seen that. Like, I loved it, so I'd never seen it, and I watched it, and it's really cool because it's just this like. I want to say it's like an hour long. It's probably shorter than that, but it's just about like what they thought Mars could be.
Yeah.
And it feels so random. And I was just like, oh, I love this. Like, I loved this kind of stuff when I was a kid. It's like beautifully designed, really cool, same kind of style as a lot of those like older mid-century. So those like Looney Tunes and Disney stuff sort of had a similar aesthetic. And it's like, this was maybe what alien life would look like on Mars. And then there's just like weird aliens like doing stuff and like hunting each other. And then it gets kind of funny where there's this weird, and it's kind of questionable, but this weird little section where there's like a man and like his secretary, and then the secretary gets kidnapped by an alien. And then there's like a 10-minute sequence where she's just being like harassed by this alien on Mars while like nobody helps her. But it's just like, what is going on here?
And they're like, this is what it's going to look like in 1990 when we're on Mars.
They really are. And it was funny too, because they made this in what, like the 60s probably. And then they're like, well, we can't wait to find out more about Mars. Because like, who knows, any of this could be real. And now looking at it in 2020, like we know a lot of the stuff that they talk about in that isn't real.
Right.
And it's just like, but it's a cool little piece of history. And it was, I don't know, stuff like that was really inspirational.
Well, it's because the science is advanced now to where we actually know that the Earth is flat, right? And so.
Yeah, we finally cracked the case. There isn't Mars. That's the projection.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not a planet at all.
Yeah, that's the deep state putting Mars there.
Right.
They're projecting.
On the deep web.
Yeah, it's actually just a piece of cardboard.
It's so wild. That stuff is really cool. So I don't know if any of this sounds interesting to you. You'll probably like our podcast because we just spend a lot of time being really nerdy about animation history.
Yeah.
And etc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how good Spider-Verse is, which comes up a lot.
It's so good.
It's
so good. We had to do a project recently for EA, and the reference they gave us was Into the Spider-Verse. They gave us like a still image, and so I was able to copy some of the colors from it, and I was like, it ended up being my favorite one out of all of them that we did, because I got to put my own spin on it, and having like watched it 1,000 times and hearing people talk about what made it so different than every other movie, I was able to incorporate some of those little things in there, and absolutely fell in love with the animation. It's like one of the few animations I actually liked from last year that I did.
That's so cool. And it there's so much inspiration to mine from that. I don't know. I get fired up every time I watch it.
Yeah.
I like that we're playing Matchmaker in the chat. Like we're playing podcast Matchmaker.
Yeah.
What is going on in here?
VJ and Gwarns is I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. It might be G Warns. That could be like the VJ name, G Warns. What up, G Warns? Anyway, I think the two of them are getting together on a VJ podcast. This could be a thing.
Yeah,
it could be a thing.
All right.
That is cool.
Yeah,
I would love to see that.
I should do that. That'd be fun, especially now with like Unreal Engine. I'm seeing what people are doing with Touch Designer and Unreal Engine right now. Oh my gosh,
Touch Designer's so cool.
Yeah,
I like Touch Designer. Man,
but all this stuff is new to me. I'm so disconnected from the world of Unreal, the world of 3D anything, the world of like live stuff.
It's good to keep an eye on.
I won't dive into any of that unless absolutely necessary. I'm at the point where I'm not going to learn new software unless it is necessary.
You're just old.
I kind of get that.
I am old. Yeah, I've hit that age.
Oh, Unity.
I'm an old man.
VJ says Unity.
Unity. Okay.
Cool.
Oh yeah, but there's too much stuff out there, and I don't have much to talk about with this, but like the only real reason I'm not doing any 3D stuff anymore is just like that's just how stuff has worked out. Because like when I was getting into it, I was at the Atlantic still, and I kind of was able to work that in.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was using my own copy of Cinema, so it was like, and at this point with the way things have gone, like I still have I'm like on R20 or whatever, but like I'm not paying for a subscription. Like I don't have it.
Yeah.
And then I'm not working on any 3D stuff, and it's just not the way that my career went. I mean, it's been a couple of years, I guess, since I've really been in it. I don't know. I'm kind of bummed out about that in a lot of ways because I liked it a lot, but like it's just like I'm not in a position really to like make it happen now.
Yeah.
And so unless like if the opportunity did arise, I think that would be really awesome. And it just hasn't. So I'm doing way more 2D After Effects.
Where are you working now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to play catch up. We got to rewind.
Yeah.
Last time you were two episodes ago you were at the Atlantic, and then last time you were at.
Was that Secret Powers?
Okay. Yeah.
Because that's
whatever the Dallas company
is.
The
Dallas one.
Yeah. I left the Atlantic to work at Secret Powers, which they're still great. I'm freelancing for them now. I love them so much. They're awesome. Then they're like an all remote studio, which doesn't mean anything now, I guess.
Right.
But like back in the
So
day,
normal.
pre all remote, they were all remote, groundbreaking. And they do a lot of video game marketing. So I left the Atlantic where I was doing a lot of editorial stuff, which was just all over the place aesthetically. And then I went to Secret Powers, and I guess it's kind of the same as all over the place aesthetically, but not the same. It's a little more VFX-y, like stuff I was doing there. And I don't know, just like video game promos, trailers, different stuff. A lot of it was not like full animated, it's adding, animation or like, even just like simple graphics to footage, whatever, that kind of thing. But then I left Secret Powers in October last year so I guess now I'm kind of in the big, scary, intimidating world of freelance, so finally amongst the people, which I've always, for a while I was like, I'm like the only person I know really who's like still hanging out on that full-time zone. That's not true, but there's so many freelancers out there at this point. But I'm on a long contract with Vox for their Netflix show, Vox Explained. So I'm actually kind of back in the Atlantic world in a way. Like the work is very similar.
I thought I had seen something about Vox with you. So
I might have tweeted it at some point or something, just being like, hey, this is what I'm doing now. I'm actually still on break for that show right now, so I'm going back next week. Yeah, so like the 25th. So right now I'm just doing some freelance over the past few weeks. But and then I think that's really where I'll be through August, which is pretty cool.
That's good to be booked till August.
Yeah, and honestly, I really, really love it. I guess I probably can't talk much about it. I've worked on a couple things so far. None of it is out. But I forgot how much I miss doing that kind of editorial work where it's like, here's a subject. Because the whole thing with Vox Explained is they're like half an hour episodes, give or take, or like 20-minute episodes about a topic. And then they just go all into it. And like I didn't work on this, but they released a miniseries. They've done a few miniseries. And the last one I think that they released on Netflix was about voting. It was like a 3-episode series about like the history of voting in America and the different, and kind of up until the present time, which is like really timely and cool, and graphically it looks incredible. Like they always are doing really cool, different stuff with animation. So it's pretty exciting to be working on something like that. And then after that, I don't know what I'm doing.
Julie Craft says
that's good.
You're keeping us guessing.
Julie. I'm keeping myself guessing, really. I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Julie and Billy watching from Detroit there. That's Billy says it's not something that you need to force if you're doing your own thing, which makes sense. I mean, you don't have to do 3D.
Yeah.
And
I know, and it's just, well, I feel like even talking about different programs, like you were talking about, like not learning something new unless, it's kind of part of what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's so hard. Everybody talks about this in Mograph stuff. Like, it's just so hard because there's so much.
Yeah.
And we're all like creative people, so we want to do all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ugh. And then even with 3D, like I always love doing the 2D look for 3D stuff.
Yeah, right.
That's honestly part of why Spider-Verse was so resonant, on top of it just kicking ass and being awesome.
Yeah.
So I miss doing that, but it's just, there's just so much. Like, it's funny because I spend a lot of my time drawing now. I did a lot of, at the Atlantic, I was like always storyboarding stuff, and then, making my own assets and all that stuff. And then doing box work is pretty similar in a lot of ways. There's a lot more storyboarding that I've done so far. And I don't know. I just sometimes, I spend like 3 days in a row just like on my iPad drawing stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is weird. I love it. Like, I really love it. And
it's really cool seeing your so I will say it's been like very cool seeing your progress, over the past couple of years that you've been posting online. And it's like, it's very, very good. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
And
That's been cool to see where I'm going.
The style reminds me of something, and I can't. I think we were talking the other day. I said I can't put my finger on what that style is. That because it's the rats that you drew. It's like it looks like a children's book or something from my childhood, and I cannot place the artist.
If you look at my Instagram, I think is what you're specifically talking about. I did some it was like Rattober in October, and I did a bunch of ink drawings of rats doing like various cute shit, which is kind of like my whole energy.
Yeah.
I don't know though, because we chatted about this, and like some of it's definitely getting back to that mid-century style. I almost wonder if it's like a Disney Golden Book or something that like maybe you're thinking of something like that.
Almost like a Golden Book. Yeah.
Okay.
Like not exactly, but there's something in there that I'm pulling from for sure.
Is it?
Yeah.
What was that author's name? I have no idea how to spell this, but Maurice Sendak.
Yeah, Maurice Sendak.
Oh yeah, like Where the Wild Things Are.
From Where the Wild Things Are.
I
Yeah.
think that's the style because that's a different style. That's a different
Yeah,
style.
he's very like kind of textured.
Mm-hmm.
I want to find it at some point. I'm going to send it to you. You'll see what I mean.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Yeah, I love that style. I hope it makes a comeback because it's super cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very into that, and it's not quite the same as that, but like it's sort of a similar energy. I'm pivoting now, sort of, to talk about this project that I just did that was also all in Procreate, but was animated, which I have it on my website.
This right here.
But like a lot of... Do it.
Yeah, right here.
Do you have it?
Yeah, do you see the one I brought up here on the... On the thing? Like that style. Maybe somebody will recognize that style. But
it's something very mid-century to me, which... And I think where I'm getting that from specifically is like mid-century Disney cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly. It's still not exactly the same
beautiful.
because like, but there's concept art from that time, like from the studio that kind of has this feeling. A lot of what I'm like cribbing directly from is Mary Blair stuff. I don't know whom amongst us knows her, but she was just like a Disney artist, during that time period that did a lot of color stuff and like a lot of shape-driven kind of design.
Yes, she did. Is she the one that did like the design for It's a Small World? The actual...
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yep. Dead on. And I'm just like fully obsessed with her. And that's like, I kind of brought that up because like her color palettes are incredible. Like the stuff that she would do with color was so amazing. And when I did this animated short that I posted recently, it was just like fan art for this funny podcast that I fucking love. Everybody should listen to. I stole the colors all directly from her. And it's nice because people were like, I really like what you did with the colors. And I was like, yeah, I know.
Now, where is that at? Is that on your Insta or...
You can find it on my website directly. So katecadieux.com. I posted it on Vimeo. I also posted it on my YouTube channel. I think it's like literally the only video I've ever posted on YouTube. And I sort of did it out of a sense of obligation because I just don't understand how any of this... I haven't done anything like this in a long time. So I was like, do people even use Vimeo anymore? I don't know. That's what I'm doing. I don't think they do, but I just posted it there anyway.
What's the name of it?
It's Stir Fry's Dream because
I found it.
It is... I don't know. Can I post the link in here?
I've got it.
Yeah, just send it to Dave.
Okay, I was like, I don't know what this...
Yeah.
Whatever. It exists, though.
Yeah.
And, like, to get the color palette for this, I obviously did a lot of tweaking and adjusting. I had so much fun.
This whole thing is in Procreate?
Yeah, I mean, I put it together in Cinema. Or no, not Cinema. Wow, holy shit. After Effects. Can you imagine? No. I did. There was a lot of compositing stuff that had to be done because I love Procreate. I could not... I'm just sold on it in so many ways. I hope they keep pushing and keep adding. But there are limitations in like how many frames you can have in a thing. So if you're animating, you're literally like adding layers, and that's like frames. And I would have to split up some of these animations into multiple Procreate files to be able to fit them all. Like to do the flag that animates in here, that I actually animated in Cinema first. So I was cheating in a big way.
Oh, and you kind of like
I loved it. It was really smart. Yeah. And then I rotoscoped it in Procreate. And there's so many frames in that thing that I had to split it up into like 3 different Procreate files that I then just like stitched together in After Effects. It wasn't hard. I just had to, because you hit a frame limitation where it's like or like you've used too many layers in this document and you like literally can't do it anymore.
See, like these stars,
so there's some workaround.
like right here, the stars here on the side, and the way that you do these little explosive elements to me, that looks very Bewitched.
Ooh, yes. Thank you.
And then, like this section here, let's see if I can, you can see it better at the beginning, but this is very Bullwinkle and Rocky to me.
Yeah.
It's all that.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm cribbing that style directly because I love it so much and it's so formative. And if I could live in that style for every project, I probably would.
So good.
But like to get the colors for this, I took Mary Blair did the art direction for the animated Alice in Wonderland, the old Disney one, which is a really weird movie, and I don't feel like that many people watch it now. I mean, I love it, but I took screen caps. Actually, somebody had posted online screen caps of the title sequence from that movie because they're just like still illustrations, and I dropped all the colors, and then I just mixed them up as much, until I like thought that they were working for me, and that's fun as hell, and I highly recommend it. And no shame. Thank you, Mary, for being a shoulder I could stand on.
I am extremely jealous of these, by the way.
This style on this one here is, what's the name of this? Sex in the 1960s College Girl. Like, this style is so awesome.
So good.
Thank you. It's all coming from the same place. I loved working on these. These were my favorite things to work on, I think, at the Atlantic, because that one in particular, and one other one I did in like an old, like black and white 1920s or like 30s animation style. But they were like from articles that were written in the Atlantic at that time, which I think is wild. So like this is like based off an article that was published in the Atlantic in 1959. And I was just like, oh my God, like this is such a pleasant excuse for me to just live in the 1959, like UPA, like TV animation world and really push that. And my only regret, honestly, I wish I had more time when I was making these to just spend like a gajillion hours on it. Because a lot of these were like, I probably had like 2 or 3 weeks to put this together.
The whole thing.
If you're into that Looney Tunes vibe.
Yeah. This has that. Would you consider this is it Tex Avery?
Very much Tex Avery. Yeah.
Look, and like some of the scenes, like where all the people are in color, and then the rest of it is kind of a monotone, like
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah,
so cool.
I love that aesthetic.
Oh man.
Like even just all the individual characters that you had earlier, how they each had their own monochromatic, look. That was super killer. Was
one of my favorite frames to draw. And also like doing like background characters like that where they all are so expressive. Like like those guys were so good at drawing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like their characters were always like, and they're so funny to me. And I loved it. So it's really fun to play around with stuff like that. And I'll do it again.
I was going to say, like, I'm thinking now, like, if we have a project that comes up that has, like, any excuse to like, contract you out to do something like this, I'm like, all right,
keep me in mind.
When can we play with this style? Like, that's, like, just, that's the thing. Like, I love to, explore styles, then find any excuse to throw it at a client. Be like, look, you got to do this. You got to do this thing. Just trust me.
Yeah.
This is the hotness right now. This is what the kids are doing.
Yeah, and hey, mid-century style, that seems like it doesn't go out of style. So hopefully got some more, I don't know.
They did the second episode of WandaVision. They did like a Bewitched spoof intro. Yeah, is really good.
The stuff I've been hearing about that show is really kind of perking my attention. I gotta go out of my way to check that out.
I really liked it, and I'm so like they had me hooked with. So me personally, I like, just like the old Looney Tunes stuff, I loved like the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah,
the Dick Van Dyke Show to me was like perfect. It was so good, and it may have some sort of influence of why I went into TV, because he was a writer for a TV show and stuff like that. So, and it was the episode where he writes the story about how his wife keeps on opening his mail, and then he writes a skit in the show about the character's wife opening his mail, and it like is this inflatable the self-inflating raft and stuff, and then the exact same thing happens to Mary Tyler Moore's character in the show. Like that one it's just classic TV. And like WandaVision, I love that the first episode they set it up just like the Dick Van Dyke, set and everything like that. And it's like, oh, and the little one-liners and stuff, it's so perfect. It's so perfect. And then you get the story in it as well. And you got to watch it.
Yeah.
You got to watch it.
This is compelling. I think I'm going to like it.
Yeah.
So I didn't ever see that show, but there's like bits and pieces of TV from that era that always were interesting to me.
Dick Van Dyke was my favorite. I felt like Dick Van Dyke, himself was just such he was such a lovable character, Yeah. And he was very animated, and it was very, very good. I loved that.
The Family Guy take on it, where he's just it's the intro and he's just like killing himself and falling on broken glass and falls through the stove and sets himself on fire.
This is so not anything, but like Neil was watching Night at the Museum the other day, which I just like haven't seen since I was a teenager, and I'd forgotten he was in it. And then, but you just see him and you're like, so endearing. Like there's just something so, I don't know, warm about him, I guess. Even though he's like the bad guy in that movie.
Yeah.
Ultimately it turns out, but like, it's just like nice to see him. He just feels very iconic.
Take a shot anytime something is Matt's favorite.
Matt's
what do you mean?
Oh, that's my favorite.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, take a shot like a drink. Right. Yeah. You'll be drunk every episode.
Right. So what have you been doing as far as COVID and getting work done and all that? Has it really changed much for you? And
honestly, no, not really. It's been kind of weird. So, I mean, all of this started to go down when I was still working at Secret Powers, and that was kind of a good spot to be in, I feel like, because, like, what are people going to do if they're inside all the time? They're going to play video games.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that really amounted to anything.
Yeah.
Boy, did we. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure it shook up some stuff, because I know there were some live action projects that we'd had planned at that point, like to do actual shoots, and there were workarounds in that sense where, now at Secret Powers, much like a lot of us, I think, or I'm sure some of us out there have like developed ways to kind of get the camera to people and then do sort of the remote shoot thing. Because actually there was a project that we had been working on at the time. I didn't really touch this project, so I didn't really work on this personally, but they did a whole interview series for the Yakuza game that was coming out. Okay. That maybe is out now, I guess. And like George Takei was like one of the voices and that kind of thing. So they did a remote interview with George Takei. And just like send an iPad and like a camera and all of this stuff to his house and like get it all set up and do it. But it worked out great. So yeah, indeed. Things were definitely weird. Like that wasn't necessarily the ideal. That was not the plan, but like making that work. And then you get people that are like, okay, well now we can't do shoots. So like, let's do some animation. But in a weird way, like, I don't think that Vox would have reached out to me necessarily if they weren't already all working remote. I don't, it's just not that common for jobs like that place a lot of emphasis on like the in-studio kind of collaboration vibe.
And also the NDAs that come along with it as well.
Yeah. It is a lot easier to keep that all. There's a reason why those jobs don't tend to go remote, but since everybody's remote, I think that, helped that be an opportunity that I even was privy to at all. So in a way, it's like, well, this is cool. This is great because I'm like, this is kind of my bread and butter, and I'm like excited to work on this. And maybe I wouldn't have had that opportunity because I'm not in New York City or DC or anywhere that offices like that would be operating. So yeah, it's been strange but good. But it's just one of those things. It's hard for me to. Like I look back and I'm like, professionally, I'm having a really cool year in hindsight. I'm doing stuff that I like, that I feel like I'm good at, getting to do cool, projects, whatever. But also, the world is a nightmare and we never got outside. So it's just like, I want to say that it's good, but it's also bad. So I'm just like, man, I don't know. A lot of journaling.
And yeah.
You got married in the last year.
Yeah, you did.
That's true. Yeah. I got married. Yeah. But that's another weird thing is like, so we postponed the wedding because it was supposed to be October 10th of last year, which we did. We just got married and we had like a very small, like our families just zoomed in and we like did a like little ceremony and got married.
It was really sweet.
Yeah, we've been engaged for 1,000 years. We've been dating for 1,000 years. And it was just like, it's time. Like we wanted to do this. And then we postponed the wedding. And then actually we just right out canceled it recently. It's just too much. Like it's, you know, too much to, nobody's having fun planning a wedding, right? Or, you know, maybe you are, but like I it's too hard to wrap your head around. Even when it was normal times, I was like not, you know, excited to be doing all the work.
Right.
And I was like, I don't want to kind of deal with all the stuff that goes into this right now. So we're just gonna, but it is exciting.
Zoom and
like
a camera and Andrew Bird.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we did like, it just happened to fall on the day that Andrew Bird was doing his apparently annual, I didn't know this, but like he annually does like a live recording of one of his older albums. And Neil is a huge Andrew Bird fan and I like Andrew Bird. So it was kind of a nice, like we have our Zoom wedding. We actually did eat out at a restaurant, which we have like not been doing at all, but we ate outside at our favorite restaurant that night. And that was really nice that we got to do that. This is not at all how I imagined that day was going to go.
Yeah.
But now you can come to Camp Mograph. So, I mean,
I know.
Win-win.
Ooh, tell me about, well, I mean, I'm hoping it happens.
Yeah.
There's no guarantees in this world.
Hopefully. We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. Camp was a freaking blast. What was that, 2 years ago at this point, or was it 1 year? I mean, that's
before times.
It was a year and 4 months or 3 months or something.
So wild.
Crazy.
Oh, and that was a truly magical time. I mean, obviously it's beautiful. And I'm sure the next one will be in a beautiful place. Like, gorgeous Vermont camp.
Yeah, it's so nice.
Yeah, the Portland camp looks really cool. So I'm hoping
very
we
cool.
can see it. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people have talked about this, but like the energy on the last day of Camp Mograph was so perfect. It was so divine. It really was just like, we're all bummed to be leaving. Like, we were singing our camp song. Like everybody's, it was great. The speakers were great.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember, this is going to sound bad. I think we all were worn out because we're just like having so much fun being together. Everybody's staying up all hours of the night. Like we're all exhausted. And I remember like sitting in the fireplace room, whose talk? It might have even been Aaron Sorofsky's talk.
Aaron was the last one, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, and not just me, but I'm like visibly falling asleep in the room. Not because I want to. I'm like cozy by the fire. I'm freaking excited. I'm like trying so hard to stay awake because she was freaking so cool and like saying all this cool stuff, like talking about really cool projects that they've worked on. I always thought they were really awesome studios. So I was like so pumped to hear that. And like just like looking around the room, like we're all like fighting to stay awake so we can like absorb this. But it was a really awesome time. So I will be more than thrilled.
Yeah. We stayed up that last night. We stayed up so late, just like watching Phil and Brodeur play
beer pong
till like 4 in the morning. Oh man,
EJ and Brodeur chest bumping.
Next Camp Mograph is going to be in Portland.
Yeah,
outside of Portland in Gresham, but it's like basically right next to it. It's is it Camp Collins? Is that the name of it?
Camp Collins, I believe.
It's super cool. I'm so excied.
Yeah,
when it happens, man. I like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, so Biden's got his 100 million vaccines in 100 days.
Yeah, like, let's get cracking, dog.
Like,
let's do it.
It's like, it's like, okay,
shoot me up.
Cool.
Okay,
that's a third of the population right there. Let's do that.
Yeah,
let's do that. And it's like, okay, I'm just, organizing an event during a COVID year is very scary.
Yeah, it's not just the uncertainty.
Yeah,
we all have. Especially as freelancers now that I'm a freelancer, but or whatever, like it is weird. There's always that element to take into account, and then this just compounds it in so many ways. Like you just don't know, like what are we going to be able to do? Like are places even going to still be in business?
Right.
Like all of this stuff, like there's just so much stuff that you can't count on that you never thought you would have to worry about, and it's not fun. It's just not fun.
Maybe we'll just buy a camp, like buy some campgrounds this year.
That'd
be
cool,
that
right?
Loan money,
right?
Put that into an
actual camp,
for real camp.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's do it.
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I liked the fact that everybody would just kind of chill and take their iPads into the cafeteria and just sketch.
I bought an iPad specifically for that. So that the next camp I could sit around with everyone and draw, you know.
Yeah, it was. I love that too. It reminded me, like when I was a kid, we would do this. Just like, you know, you'd get all the you know, nerds of different stripes all in one place. Like we're gonna have like the crafting table, essentially. Yeah, and like, you know, during social times or whatever, there'd always be at least one full round table of people just drawing and like talking. And I'm like, this is the energy that I live for. And then like people I'd never met before at that camp that I'd met for the first time, that like we're still in touch. You know, on a pretty active basis, like making like new friendships and all this stuff. Like it absolutely has that camp energy.
Yeah, it's
cool.
It's
so great. Would do again.
I'm just ready for events. I'm so ready for events again.
Too.
Like you're putting an extrovert in a cage, you know. It's like
must be suffering. And I'm very introverted. I mean, I've been working from home for forever and I love it. I love to have my own space and like be alone. This sucks. Like I am done with this. And like traveling and doing stuff like that was a big part of my like kind of social structure because of that. I mean, you go out here and like hang out with our friends, like go out to eat, whatever. But for industry stuff, I mean, I'm in Troy, New York. I'm in the middle of nowhere. There isn't that here. So I'd go to New York City or I'd fly to a convention or whatever. And those were like my big touchstones. I'm like, I get to see all my friends, like all the cool people, like da 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 da. Now I can't do that. And I'm like, when is this even going to happen? I'm suffering.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm ready to make contact. I'm ready to do stuff.
We'll ease back into it eventually.
Like,
you know?
all the online stuff, you know, you're still sitting at your desk, even though you're still talking to all your friends and stuff like that. But it's just so different seeing them in person.
Yeah, it is different. I can't have a beer with you. I mean, we could, I guess, but like, it's not the same. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you can't have those little side conversations and things, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is spontaneous. Well, unlike, I mean, this is a totally different thing because it's so big, but like you're going to NAB or whatever, that enables a lot more. You know, you can run around and like raise all kinds of hell, kind of, or like go to a big meetup with beers or whatever. And then if you guys want to go break off and like do your own thing or like go to some, you know, different casino or like whatever you want to, you know, you can just do that. And there's a lot of more organic, you know, mixing around, matching and like meeting people. And there's no way to replicate that without it. So it's a big plus.
Yeah, totally. Me and my wife were talking about for Valentine's Day going to Vegas, you know, because it's so dirt cheap right now. Like literally you can stay at the best hotel with airfare for like $250 each, you know? And so it's like, even if we just hang out in the room the whole time, you know,
it's not bad.
Yeah, it's like, it's still a vacation. It's still getting away from the kids, you know?
Yeah, shout out to everybody with kids. I don't have kids, but I have to imagine that's also pretty tough.
It's hard. I love my children. Contrary to what I've said on previous podcasts, I love my children.
I believe you.
They're going to be listening to your
24 hours a day.
They're going to listen to the old shows like 10 years from now and be like,
gosh. He said what?
Yeah.
I know.
Rough stuff.
So when you're working in Procreate, I wanted to ask you some questions about this.
Yeah.
I love Procreate, but I'm not into it as much as I would like to be for time reasons and lack of artistic ability.
That's your 3D probably is like my 2D stuff and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I use it on occasion because I will get to a certain point on projects where I'm like, oh, that would just be easier to draw. And so I'll bust out the iPad, draw it, save it as a Photoshop file, bring it in and whatnot. And it's actually really nice and really easy to use, but there are some ins and outs of Procreate that I don't know, that I feel like I don't know. And there's all the animation stuff, which I have yet to really dive into at all. What are some tips and tricks and some things that you've been learning that's like, you know, the deep dive into Procreate? Like what is something that you feel like people don't know enough about in Procreate?
That's a Great question. Ugh. Well, I will say I'm trying to think of stuff that's like not just sort of vague, like painting knowledge or whatever. But maybe the most obvious one that I could see being relevant to everyone is like using it for storyboarding. That makes a lot more sense to me. Even I have a like Cintiq that's just been sitting in my closet for forever at this point because it's pretty old and it's just massive. Like I don't have room for it, all of this stuff. And the iPad has really replaced that for me in a lot of ways. So if you are storyboarding, I mean, I love using Procreate for storyboarding. And something that I used to do in Photoshop when I storyboarded in Photoshop was I would use the animation, the timeline in Photoshop to do it because it was easy to just like, well, I need a new frame here. So I'll just like add another, frame or whatever. And I'd use Animator's toolbar, the extension to do that. And now I do the same thing in Procreate because you just make the timeline and then every layer is that. And it's just so easy for me to be like, okay, well, like I need an intermediary frame for these two things. I can just add a layer right in that point. And then you can play it back to yourself because you can set the frame rate playback. You can make that like, show me 1 frame a second or whatever. And I could just sit there and review it sequentially right in front of myself and just kind of use that to figure it out. And if you want, I haven't really done this, but you could, there's a way for you to set, so you have like a global frame rate if you're animating Procreate. So 24, 12, whatever, like literally anything you want on a slider. But you can select in the timeline any layer and then, prolong how long that layer stays up. So you can also add holds. So even if you wanted to, you could do a rough timing for anything that you're doing. And it's so easy.
Audio to it as well?
I don't believe so at this point.
That'd be nice if you could.
I'm sitting here just kind of thinking, I'm like, how can I like get the ear of Procreate? Because I have so much. I tweeted this recently to somebody who was of the same mindset, but I'm like, give me an iPad that's like 16 inches. Or 20 inches if you're crazy. But like really, make me a 16-inch. I don't want the big phone, but I want the big iPad because this is better than Wacom stuff to me.
Yeah.
Or Wacom or whatever. But that's what I want to work in. It's so light. It's so easy. Take it around 16 inches. Please give it to me. And then Procreate, if they just kept pushing the animation tools, and I don't know if they want to do that. I don't know. But they used to say they weren't going to put animation in at all.
Yeah.
And they used to be really like, we're not doing it, which I love. Y'all got us real good. Yeah. And then they put in these animation tools that are already really good for what they are. Like if they just kept adding stuff, it would be very hard for me to work in other things.
They're very much like they're the Photoshop of the iPad. Honestly, like people aren't using Photoshop,
even though there's Photoshop on the iPad. Like no one uses it.
Yeah.
But it's tough because I love Adobe stuff. Obviously, I mean, I use Adobe stuff all the time. Like I'm happy to be using it, but like for Photoshop, like Procreate is just building itself from the ground up to be so efficient. Yeah. And it just like it's doing these things so well. So I have like minor nitpicks. You don't have
20 years of, coding that you've got to, go back to and make sure that works.
And I totally get, like, we all love to complain, sometimes about Adobe doesn't, like, sort of streamline all of their stuff. But it does, like, if their whole thing is, like, we're going to buy this, and we're going to buy this, and we're going to buy this, and then, like, put them all together in a suite, like, they have their work cut out for them. Like, it's a tough situation for them to kind of streamline. Like, why doesn't this shortcut do the same thing in these different programs?
Why do I still need at least 2 frames for playback?
And you're like, I have the frames, like, just play. I don't know why. But they have a lot that they need to wade through, and Procreate is not coming from that angle. So they have a big advantage there. They can just roll onto the scene kind of, and even how they're adding stuff incrementally, it gives me confidence that they're kind of adding stuff when it's ready to go.
Yeah.
And that's like something that I'm very appreciative of right now. And so if at any point, I think when they started doing animation stuff, it was like very basic. They were like, here's the timeline, draw stuff. Yeah. And this is a very small addition. And I could be wrong about this, but I'm fairly sure, or at least I didn't discover it later, that they added an ability to put in a background and a foreground, which is amazing because not only can so if I want to animate a character walking through a landscape, I can put that landscape drawing in the background and it'll show up on every frame.
Right.
So now I can see what I'm doing. And they have the foreground too. So if I want to have like a dimensionality where I'm like, there's like some leaves in the foreground or something, like I can put that on here and it's just built in and I don't have to worry about it. And if they just keep adding stuff like that, Like if they added multiple timelines for a single project, I would just like shoot through the roof. It'd be so incredible.
Is there onion scanning already? Like for frame? Okay, yeah.
And it's great because you can toggle like how many frames do I want to be able to see at a time, and you can add like a ton of frames that you want to be able to see forward or back, or like go down to just, I only want to see like the last frame and the next frame. And then there's a toggle to color those frames too, so that you can, if you have a background or whatever, like there's just a lot of customization options to make it easier for you.
That's a lot more than last time I even looked at it, because I remember there's an app that came out that would do onion skinning and all that, and Procreate wouldn't do that yet. And I feel like if they added that, I'm sure that the other one is just kind of gone the wayside at this point. The other, whatever app that was.
Jeff in the chat is asking if you've used Time Lord.
Yeah, I saw you ask that. Actually, I bought it and I haven't ever used it yet, but I want to so badly.
What is that?
That's the one that's After Effects.
It's like Overlord, but for like cell animation for Photoshop or Flash or Animate, I guess.
Okay.
Flash, which I haven't used. I got really excited when I saw that coming out because Overlord is my absolute best After Effects friend. I use it as the day is long, all the time, always for everything. Oh my God. And so I'm like already fully invested in Time Lord and how cool it's going to be. But I haven't had a chance to use it. And that's my frustration a little bit with some of this workflow stuff is figuring out like, how do I get the interface all set up? So, because I've thought about buying another Cintiq and it just doesn't seem, it's pretty expensive, but even beyond that, it just doesn't work as well as I feel like it even used to. Like, I think I got my Cintiq in like 2012 or like 2013 or something.
That's not too long ago.
No, but it like worked fine at that point, and just like as the years have gone by, there's all these technological complaints. I have to go in and I have to like check all these things or whatever, like roll back the drivers or whatever. There's always these technical issues that make it so frustrating to use. And it's just been, and I just sit on my iPad and Procreate, and it's like, hey, no problem.
Have you tried connecting it like with the iPad as like a tablet? I know you can do that with some programs.
So I took a cursory look at some of these because I like one time I tweeted and I was just like, should I get a Cintiq? Because I really want to do this again. And, then we kind of got into these discussions where I was like, I don't really want to mess with this. I use an Intuos tablet all the time too. And even that, it's like frustrating enough to use in Photoshop that I'm just like, I just don't want to mess with it. I don't feel like their customer service is that responsive, unfortunately. So I just like, I've, been wary of that. But the stuff that I've looked at for connecting your iPad and using it as a tablet hasn't been very satisfactory to me, which is kind of unfortunate. And if there was just a way to get that working, I also would still like it to be larger for that kind of thing.
You would think that Apple would have something, to make it seamless like that.
This is like, I never do this, and I want to just like write Apple an email and be like, just make a big iPad. Just add this to the pile. I'm sure millions of other people who are asking for this. Please make me a big iPad and let me staple it to, because I'm on PC too. I wonder if people have used Sidecar with their iPad and then like done art stuff with it. I'd love to know if that works and is good, because I don't have a Mac anymore. I'm like fully out of the Mac world now. Which is wild, but I wish I had that to use. I forget it exists all the time because of that. Unfortunately. I hope that's not what they tell me, like, hey, just like kick rocks and like buy a Mac, because I'm like, I can't do it, but I'll buy a big
iPad. Mac Mini for that,
Yeah, maybe honestly, like set up some kind of, if I'm in a situation where I'm using that. So Dan Marino just mentioned Duet Display, and I like tried it and it wasn't great.
Yeah,
and I don't want to. I honestly don't want to pay like $10 a month or however much it was to just be able to have like. I don't know. It's just a little frustrating to me. I'm definitely starting to feel subscription fatigue too, which is totally unrelated.
Absolutely.
I got to run the restroom now. I'll be right back. Y'all keep going.
I was just thinking the same. All right.
I also have to.
The subscription, like, I mean, it's cool having a bunch of these things, but it's like, okay, now I've really got to dive down deep and figure out which ones I really want. Because it would be cool. So we've got an Envato Elements subscription, and I've got a Red Giant Universe subscription.
Yeah, the Red Giant thing is exactly what I was thinking about.
The Red Giant Universe, like I just don't use it enough. I don't use it enough, and I hate when I've got one project that requires it, and I'm like, or I have to go back to an old project, and it's like, okay, well, I guess I got to spend my $30 or $60 this month, to do it, just for one plugin. And then, but Envato Elements I use for almost every project. It's like that one is very worth it to me. I will keep paying the $33 a month in order to get unlimited, graphics and videos and sound effects and whatever. It's like I don't know how they're making their money because
I also have an Envato Element subscription because it just came up enough. Like any freelance project I'm doing, even if it's small, I might need to pull a stock image or something. I was even doing these animated Instagram stickers for Plan B, which was a great project and I loved it. And I also did that in Procreate. But to send them the comps, I made, here's a fake little Instagram screen so you can see how they would look when they're playing on, and I dropped different stock images in there. And it's just a little boost that makes your stuff look better and helps you sell an idea. Yeah. And I was like, this is totally worth the money. But you're right. I didn't notice until recently. And again, it's freelancing for Secret Powers. And so trap code stuff comes up a lot. And I didn't realize. So I would buy the full suite of trap code every other year or whatever, whenever it really I need to upgrade this. And now it's the subscription situation and I'm like, I can't justify this. I can't justify it, and it's really expensive, and I think that's great, but it's just I'm not a studio, so I don't need to pay for this. But that also sucks because now I feel like I would only use trap particular very sparingly maybe, but I loved having access to it and it could add so much to it. But I can't afford to be shelling out this money to just have it available at any whim or on my. No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I also heard a few people complaining in the Slack just recently where it's it's along the same lines where, okay, well now I've got to pay for the subscription or something. Oh, but you don't have the old version that I was working on. It's a new version and now it looks different, you know? And it's I don't know. I heard a lot of people complaining about that and talking about, Red Giant versus something like Sapphire from Boris Effects, and it's I don't know. The Envato Elements though, I really like it. So what's funny is anytime I need something, if I need a sound effect or something, I'll go there, right? Or if it's I know I need a piece, so I will sometimes look I found some ink drops, some of those transitions and stuff like that. I'm okay, well I can't find any footage, but I know there's a bunch of After Effects templates and stuff. So I'll just grab one of those, and inside those they've got actual footage and stuff like that of ink drops. So it's I'll just straight up rip the project, and use it however I need it.
Yeah, it's super and so it was weird for me to wrap my head around because my first real job, I feel was at the Atlantic where we were just totally on our own. There's no budget for anything. So it's just make the stuff and whatever you can make in this time, that's what we're using. Sometimes we'd have access to photos of, politicians or whatever it was through AP images or something. But no stock stuff. No, it was all just what can you birth into the world with your own two hands in 2 weeks? Go.
Right.
Which I guess was great in a lot of ways for me to develop skills. But when I went to Secret Powers, it's totally different. You use stock for so many things. You use stock for effects and, for comping just little things in, or if I need to add a particular type of glow to this shot, it might be more effective for me to use some kind of stock element and throw that in there and work it until it looks good instead of just noodling around with glow effects for 1,000 years, whatever. It just depends on what it is. And that really opened up a lot of my thinking. It was really funny. I'm oh, this is what so many Mograph people have done in their careers that is totally new for me. And they used Envato Elements. Otherwise, I never. It's actually really funny because I didn't realize that it would be as widespread of a thing. Yeah. But when I left Secret Power, I did a series of book cover animations for there was this whole, it was 8 books or something, 7 or 8 books, and they all had a similar illustrated art style. And then the theme of the books was all elemental magic kind of stuff. So they wanted every book to reflect whatever the main theme was. So one of them's ocean, water stuff. So they want this ink illustration to animate on with water effects. I'm going to do all of this with footage. all of it. And
Yeah.
so in Vado Elements, I mean, I used other stock sources as well, but I'm like taking all these like crashing ocean waves shots and then just like layering them and like treating them in After Effects to make a matte that looked cool.
Yep.
And like got all, and I wouldn't have been able to do that otherwise. And it totally made sense budget wise to do that. And like they got anything on there. Like one of them was like earth stuff. So I got like shaking, like I like crackly earth footage, and then I'd like add shake and shit like that in After Effects, like make it look like, earth magic or whatever.
Yeah.
And it totally worked. And I don't know what else I would have done because like stock video, it's expensive.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
This is just an ad for Vado Elements, I guess.
Right.
But honestly,
I know.
like for
Jeff,
freelance stuff, like it's been a great resource.
Jeff says it's hard to beat the price. It's true. I mean, there's
it is. It's nothing,
$35 a month or something, and that's if you're paying monthly. If you're paying yearly, it's less than that.
I just do a year because I'm like, what am I? Yeah, I'm gonna use it. Like I might as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you just want to like pull one or two little elements and you see them inside of a project, and you're like, I'm just gonna buy that After Effects project, pull out those two HUD elements, and then modify them.
Yeah.
Such a great starting point.
And when you're in such a big rush to get something done, it's nice to just be there.
Yeah.
For one project, I was like, okay, so, we've got to create all these boards and animations and stuff. Just like grab as many Illustrator files as you possibly can, throw them in there.
Work smarter, not harder.
You're good to go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. There's even brushes and stuff on there too. Which I haven't used a ton, but awesome. There's like Procreate brushes or Photoshop brushes and different stuff on there. And it's just like, it's kind of one of those things that if you're thinking about buying something for a project, like you might just take a look and see what they have just in case. Because if you're already subscribed to it, that could save you some money.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you about brushes and stuff too. Do you have like a good library of brushes, textures, all of that?
So
I'll be right back now.
Okay.
oh my God, what is the link? It's funny because so for Procreate brushes, which is really where my head is at right now in the brush game, I'm basically exclusively using MaxPack brushes, which I found a Gumroad link.
I have a lot of the True Grit texture pack stuff. Have you seen True Grit?
Oh yeah.
That one's good.
I haven't used those, but I've seen them around.
Yeah.
I haven't used that many. I guess I'm sticking to this one like really specific style a lot of the time too.
Yeah.
And the MaxPack really covers that, but it's like very like Disney art vibes.
MaxPack.
Unsurprisingly.
Okay.
I have like the gouache MaxPack, and the comics one is like some really nice inking brushes. But it's all like very illustrative, and it's so nice, and it's honestly not bad. I'm pretty sure he has this essentials pack of like a variety pack of different brushes, but I think it's like $5, and it's honestly a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
I just noticed too, he has this paper pack, which is really cool. I haven't used that, but it's just so you can like make your project look a little bit more like it's like actually traditionally made and have like a background texture and stuff like that.
That's what I have from True Grit. Yeah, I like these the paint brushes here. These are looking pretty good on Max.
Yeah, just unreal what people are doing with this stuff, and I'm using it pretty simplistically, I feel like, in comparison. But Procreate, such a good program.
Yeah. The and then mixing things like the paints with those particular textured papers. Like I don't know if you can see very well on the screen this one here on the left in particular, but it's kind of that dotted paper almost. It's for watercolor, but I don't know what it's called. I'm not good enough of an artist to know what it's called.
I feel like I should know that, and I couldn't tell you.
But getting all those papers, and then I'll try and find the True Grit stuff too, because that's. Let's see. They have some really great, like, what is it called? Is it called stipple?
Oh yeah, the stipple brushes. I've seen these. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
What are we looking at?
We're talking about, here it is. Like
brush
the different
packs.
types of brush and texture packs. They do a lot of that. They do a lot of the, what do you call it? Mine is blank. The dots.
Like halftone.
Halftone.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
My mind.
Yeah, that's like a vintage kind of look. Ooh, these halftone brushes look very nice.
Some of the stuff that they have, like some of the comic book, like old comic book looking stuff is great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think honestly, like something that really is working for me in Procreate and why I've sort of, I don't know, if they could just get my iPad to work or like, you know, keep pushing Procreate as a program because I'm here for it. It's like the closest tie between actually working in like physical illustration medium in a way that Procreate or like Photoshop never felt exactly right to me. And I could never kind of get that feeling. And like Procreate is the closest it's ever been. And then you can freaking animate it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like if I could sit at my art desk and like paint a painting and then animate it. Procreate is like getting there for me.
Yeah.
And that's really working. Like the way that I work and the type of work that I want to do is a lot of that. So it just keep going, Procreate.
Yeah.
I love you so much. You're so good.
I need you to teach me Procreate.
Oh, really?
Learn. Yeah.
Maybe I will do that. I'll consider. I'll take that under advisement.
Yeah. There's so much about it. It's such a like I know Photoshop, you know, but that was the hardest thing with Procreate. I found myself following a lot of Procreate people on like TikTok, you know, or liking specific Procreate things, and then the algorithm gives me plenty of more Procreate things, you know. Yeah. And I found learning a lot of stuff in Procreate specifically, like because it's totally different than Photoshop in the fact that you're like using your swipes and, you know, like a touch user interface versus like a drop down user interface or something like that, you know.
It's much more intuitive.
I didn't feel like it was though. Like,
it's not once you, and I will totally agree with you because it's like the only software I can think of in recent history that I had to read the manual.
Right.
But like once you know how to do it and then I feel like it's intuitive in the moment. And like in Photoshop, it just feels a little clunky where I'm like, I got to stop and I got to click this thing and whatever. I grabbed the wrong layer and da-da-da. And sometimes that still happens in Procreate. Like I'm not going to act like it's magically perfect, but it is a little bit easier. I just feel like I'm a little more in it and a little more like, let me just like cut and paste this, like da-da-da, you know. And Photoshop, I'm just like, okay, like let me navigate to this menu and there's a million different things. And like Photoshop or Procreate just looks clean too.
Are there any keyboard shortcuts? I know that's dumb. Like, say you've got like a Bluetooth keyboard attached to it, you know? I don't know.
I've never done that, so I couldn't tell you.
It'd be interesting, you know? Because like I feel like in Photoshop, I can work pretty efficiently with a lot of the keyboard shortcuts that I know. Like create a new layer versus like plus new layer or whatever, you know?
And there are things in Procreate that I actually think are clunky and I wish they could kind of address in that way. I wish there were faster ways to do it. Like merging layers sometimes is annoying to me because you stack them and then you have to pinch them and it doesn't always kind of work. And so there are definitely things that could use improvement. But I'm very happy with like how it is now. And I have this vision for what it could be that I hope it is. And I want it so bad.
Yeah. Seems like they're listening.
Yeah. If they just keep going the way they're going, like it really does. I was so pleased when they put animation into it. And I just like seeing that and how well they did it. I was just like I would love to make even bigger projects than the one I made all in Procreate because it just works for me.
James,
call me.
I got a script. We can work together. I got a script.
Yeah, we got this. Let's do it.
I wrote one like 10 years ago that I've been waiting to do. I don't know how to animate. I don't know how to animate in 2D.
That's all I do
let's be serious. I don't know how to animate. Come on.
I've never done it. What is a keyframe?
What is a keyframe?
We've come back full circle.
Who is a keyframe? Right. James is talking about Coral Painter. You remember Coral Draw? Coral Draw. That was like everybody. It was like, you use Photoshop or you use Coral Draw?
I never used that. I used Paint Shop Pro back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Anybody when we didn't have Photoshop and. I barely recall this. I don't know. God knows where it is.
He was talking about like Coral Painter. Like they had like really good use of brushes. Remember?
Yeah.
Like I feel like before Photoshop, Coral was like, here's like a million different paintbrushes.
I never really knew anybody that used Coral, and I never did. But it definitely felt like Photoshop was always trying to have it all in classic Adobe style, I guess, where it was like it's a photo editing. And then people were like, but I also like animating in Photoshop. I love Animator's Toolbar still because it just, I think Time Lord is kind of missing some of maybe it doesn't need it really, but like Animator's Toolbar would just make it easy to like snip a layer to exactly the right number of frames or whatever. Like, so I still use it for cleaning up my Procreate animation. I usually use Animator's toolbar in Photoshop to just kind of tidy it up before I take it into After Effects.
Any of that. I don't know what Animator's toolbar is.
It's really just like it's a Photoshop extension that helps you animate if you want to do frame by frame in Photoshop. It's just a little toolbar that you can put right at the top of your timeline, and it's quick shortcuts like adding a new frame or increasing the number of frames that layer is on screen.
Gotcha.
And you just, and then you can even there's quick color coding shortcuts, so you can color code sections of your animation, all of it just to kind of streamline that process. But it's funny because it's that's not what Photoshop was made for. It's not. It just happens to have these tools for some reason.
Right.
And you can do great stuff. I still love Animator's toolbar. I just don't use it as much now that I don't have a screen tablet ready to go. And if you do, I still highly recommend checking it out, even in tandem with Time Lord. I think it would work really well because it doesn't have any export features or anything like that. It's purely to help you get the job done. But it's pretty cool. And then Photoshop is just, it's doing all these things. I mean, I don't know. Maybe people edit photos in Procreate, but I don't think so. I don't.
Yeah. I
don't
know how that would.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think people would use Lightroom or whatever that's called. Is that what it is?
Well, for cutting out and stuff.
Yeah, Lightroom is more, But then there's still Photoshop. It's just one of those weird things that Photoshop is still here doing all these different things. Even when Adobe is but also Lightroom, which I don't really know anything about because I'm not a photo person.
Same here.
See, I'm big into I was big into Lightroom until the iPhone made it way too easy to take good pictures. But
yeah. Thank God for that, honestly, for me. I don't know what I'm doing.
Kansas's Windows Paint is what we all started out with as a kid. Ash says Mario Paint.
That's true.
Mario Paint, man. Mario Paint was the bomb.
Yeah.
I hope my parents still have this, and they might not, because I've always wanted to find it again. But I won a digital art competition in grade school that probably had 5 people in it. I don't know. I didn't even go to the thing. But I made an image in Paint, in Microsoft Paint.
Nice.
That was called Hospital Crisis. And it was an old man running away from a burning hospital.
Oh, all right.
And it's just this really dumb mouse-drawn image in Paint of an old man, but he had shake lines too, and he's with a cane, running away from a hospital, and the hospital's on fire. And I have this vivid memory of it with a huge first place blue ribbon on it, and I was just
funny.
I'm in 8th grade, and I'm already a little terrorist. I don't know.
Next time you find it, you need to tweet it out. I want to see that. Yeah.
I gotta ask. It might be lost to time, but maybe it exists. We'll see.
It exists somewhere.
I've been waiting to drop that anecdote for years. I just never have anyone. It's one of those things where I look back on myself and I'm like, you were okay. Kind of a weird kid, but that's funny.
Yeah, I think the first time I touched Photoshop was version 3, but I played with other stuff before that, like Autodesk Animator and MS-DOS, and
Wow.
and then back on the Color Computer 3 and TRS-80, there were a couple small programs you could use. There was something called, I think it was called Microsoft Desktop, and it would go on to basic computers, and it was kind of like a Windows interface, but it had a little Paint program in it.
Interesting.
Yeah, actually, this is insane. I never was blessed to experience Mario Paint, but there was this Lion King computer game that I really liked when I was a kid. It had a bunch of mini games in it, It was just whatever. But there was a painting thing in that game, and I remember painting really, really terrible drawings of lions in that. I was so young. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but it's one of those, just a small window of the screen is what you could paint in, and everything else was just a Lion King UI with little Rafiki pots of color or whatever, stuff like that.
That's fun.
Tiny Toons had their cartoon maker on the Nintendo.
I don't remember that.
You could make your own cartoons.
I remember Mario Paint. Mario Paint was awesome.
Yeah.
I remember.
Paint sounds cool.
Yeah. It using the mouse was crazy, and there were so many different things you could do in it, not just painting, but then also just filling in lines and stuff like that, or making music. Making music, it was amazing. You should YouTube some of the Mario Paint music songs, and it's so good. Because you'd have all these different weird sound effects, like a cat and a dog and a pig, along with all the, Mario sound effects and actual notes and stuff like that. It was so cool.
All the music that people enjoyed and novelty music people enjoyed in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Like the barking dogs for the Christmas music. Isn't there a whole album?
God.
Orf, 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 orf.
Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that again, Dave?
It is cool though. Like all this stuff is so formative.
It was the type of thing you listen to in between watching episodes of Home Improvement.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Now that's a throwback. That's an old.
I knew that was coming, Dave.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Well, it's the only timeless part of that.
That's
Links
funny.
to this day.
Isn't that you see the meme with the dude and the butterfly? This is comedy?
Oh, right.
Yeah. That's what people liked
liked
back
it though.
then.
Like that
Yeah.
show was on for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Good old JTT.
GTT. Hey, I got a
I
couple.
barely did that.
He's a dreamboat. I got a
Yeah, he
couple
is.
links for you. If you want some links, we only have 2 links. So it's just real fast here. We've got one that actually Nick sent me. It says it's called "You and That Thing You Love." This is because it reminded him of our conversation that we had. I don't remember which episode that was, when we were talking about what happens if you go blind in your emotion graphics.
Oh,
person.
right.
And this is
Right,
about
right.
skateboarding. Somebody who is a skateboarder who lost their vision. And
Huh,
I was
interesting.
just talking about that whole. I mean, when that's what you fully rely on for something that's
Yeah.
like your thing, what you go through. But also that, and Mark sent me his new trailer for Profanity Creative. I'm gonna put that out there
Ooh.
too. So check out that trailer. Reel, actually, not trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it. That's all I had in the links. I did have another note in here about 3090s. We did get those other 3090s, but
Yeah, we now have 6 3090s
Yeah.
between the two of us.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Why not?
I want
Why
more.
wouldn't you?
Need
I
that
want
data
more.
power. More.
Right, need that crypto mining
I was
power
gonna say that's
right
all Matt
now.
wants to do.
I have made more money crypto mining than I have actually rendering,
Right.
videos.
Right.
I guess that's the world we live in today.
Right. I will say it's nice though, like having, because my secondary machine, I got rid of all my 980 Ti's. I sold them all on eBay within like a day, right?
Mhm.
And so,
Going for good money.
which was, yeah, I mean, they're going. I was able to sell them for at least anywhere from $200 to $250. So it's great. I'm gonna use that for a new Herman Miller embody chair, maybe.
Nice.
It's only
Oh my gosh.
$1,500.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
So, but it's nice having an actual secondary computer that can, run good stuff. I've got a 3090 and 2080, 2070 Super in there. And then I rearranged like the cards. So I had to get a new power supply. And then turns out that the power supply is really wonky and it wouldn't like accept the cables that I originally had.
Yeah, it's weird.
Even though they were the same. So like it was hard to like shove them in there and stuff. So like I reran their cables that they gave, which sucked because I had to take it off the wall because I've got my computers on my wall.
That's
So
why
I
I'm
had to
not
take it
looking
off.
forward to wiring mine.
Yeah. But I rewired it and I moved around some cards and stuff like that to give it more airflow. And since then, I've been able, like, my temperatures haven't been that high.
The thing
And
is,
so we've been working on a project, and I actually am network rendering, and man, it's going so fast. Those 3090s are so fast.
Yeah.
once I take
so
this these two
Sounds
2080s out of
juicy.
here and put in that new 3090 and the new power supply to
Yeah.
power all of this, literally nothing about my computer is going to be the same from this year except for the case and the
Except for the
M2
case.
drive. The
Yeah.
M2
Holy
drive.
shit.
It's totally
Yeah.
tin manned.
It is. That's why that's why I like PCs, It's like if you were going for a Mac, it's like, all right, let's buy another Mac,
Right.
I know. That's why,
So-
I mean, and I haven't done anything with my PC since I built it like a
Yeah.
year and a half ago or however long ago. But
Yeah.
it's nice to know. I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine going back.
You
And I don't
yeah.
even do any like super juicy render stuff. It's just, but it is fast. as all get out. And
you built it yourself.
Plus, it plays great video games. Well, really, Neil kind of helped a lot putting it physically together because of I don't understand how that stuff works. It made me so nervous.
Yeah.
And he's
still
computer
to this day
boy.
makes me nervous. Yeah.
I didn't realize until we like sat down with all the pieces and then he was like, at this part, you got to be really careful. So I watched him do a lot of it, to be honest, and like give him his full credit. And like a lot of different people helped me pick out the parts.
Yeah.
I took advice from a lot of different areas, like Mograph people, which I really appreciated because it was all new to me. And funny, I was kind of doing it in mind with maybe doing more 3D stuff because I thought I was going to freelance at that point, and then I did. So things just didn't like go how I expected. But it's nice to have all that energy in there.
What's the specs?
What is it?
Oh my God, don't even ask me to rattle that off the top of my head because I don't know.
What about the video
I got them
card?
written somewhere. I couldn't tell you. I could not. I don't remember at this point what it was.
But you can run Octane, right? Or Redshift if you want. You're on NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all of that was... I'm trying to remember whose website it was because it was so helpful and I want to name drop it.
Probably Sage,
yeah, it
right?
was.
Yeah.
It's like tiered of like computers
Yeah.
and like different builds. And like I referenced that very heavily. And mine ended up being somewhere in between two different ones. But like it's a pretty juicy build for what it was. I just like I haven't retained any of that knowledge. I'm so bad at that kind of stuff. I can't keep going.
Every time I'm going to build a new machine or buy an upgraded part, I always hit up Sage first. And just say, hey, what should I get? Like this last one, we bought the Threadripper CPUs and they just weren't very good. And so I hit up Sage and I was like, hey, if you could build like your dream machine, what would you get? And then I just bought that.
Yeah, that's wise.
Yeah.
This is funny too. I just said in the chat about like video games, but honestly, like that's the biggest benefit to my life at this point is that like all my PC games look fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I never
what are you
thought
playing right now?
Here, like Hades mostly, which I guess isn't
okay. I don't know that one.
You don't know Hades? Oh,
I don't know Hades.
It's like a roguelike essentially. A lot of it is like the artwork is 2D, but it also you can cross play on the Switch. So I bought it on the Switch first, and but then I bought it. I could just play the same save file on PC now too, and like go back and forth, which rules. But now I only play it on PC because it actually does look so freaking good and crisp on PC. Like,
are you still playing Animal Crossing at all?
Not really.
Yeah,
that's so
my
2020.
wife's like 400 hours into Animal Crossing.
Mine, I'm pretty sure hit 700. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
it may be more. It may be more. I don't know, but like, she plays every single night. She has played every single night since it came out, and she's not a video game person. She's not at all. And so
I do think a lot of the people who are still playing are kind of in that area.
Yeah.
Which I think is great. Like, and in some ways I like miss it. It's gonna be weird logging back in at some point in the future, just being like, oh my God, like I built this whole town essentially, and then like I just pieced out after a while.
That was me too. Is like once I made millions of bells, I was like, all right, I don't.
Like, I'm good.
I'm retiring.
Yeah, I got all the cute animals I wanted. I actually was playing a ton of Halo over Christmas.
Oh yeah, which one?
Really?
All of them. Yeah, I wasn't playing multiplayer, although I miss multiplayer Halo really bad. I used to play that a ton. Like in college, I loved multiplayer Halo, but I just was like, oh man, like Master Chief Collection. It's been a long time, and I bought a bunch of them on PC. I like played through the whole Halo 1 campaign on Legendary because I couldn't remember if I'd ever done it before. But I did that, and then I was like, I'm going to play all these on Legendary. And then, like, halfway through Halo 3, I just kind of, like, burnt out on it.
Oh, man. You got to come play Halo 5 with us.
On Xbox.
We still play all the time on Xbox.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, we have a whole crew of, like,
we have 15. A Halo group,
no kidding. I'm probably going to suck real bad. I'm, like, nervous to play.
I'm the worst. I'm the worst player.
Yeah, Matt's the worst.
All I do is complain the entire time about how bad I am at Halo.
Because he won't play with us enough. We don't play every night.
It's because
but we play
all
often.
of y'all are too good.
That's what it's like. Yeah, everybody's so good because they've been playing Halo forever, and like I haven't really played it much since COD. And I'm like, wait, shit, like I'm gonna be so bad at this. People are just gonna be. I wasn't ever great. I was always like the average person on the team. I was always like fine, but not doing amazing.
I'm always the last. Always the last when I'm playing against them. But when I play online, I'm one of the top people because I'm always having to play against people who are much, much better than me.
Yeah, see, it helps. That's the thing. Playing with your friends helps get you better. So you got to play more often with us, Matt. We're always missing you.
if y'all would actually play at like 7 o'clock instead of 2 in the morning,
It's 10.
Yeah,
know,
that's gonna be that's a barrier for
once
me.
my kids start sleeping in a little bit later,
Yeah.
you know,
Then
then
you can
maybe
do
I'll
it.
join you.
Thesagery.com/builds is that site, by the way. Which I did want to mention. Yeah. So you can.
Thank you. It was so amazing. It's super helpful, informative, so great.
Yes.
Yeah, the mere mortal
Sage of
build.
Shadows. He is the moderator for the Cinema 4D subreddit.
Yeah.
And also all around badass.
But he lists these and the PC.
I'm looking at my
part
video
picker.
card now.
Oh man, yeah, it's such a great
I need
resource.
to know. Display adapters. It's a 2080.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah.
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 You can mine
Gets the job done.
Bitcoin with that.
Yeah, you can. You can make some money on the side there.
Yeah.
Don't know if I will do that.
Yeah.
The crypto thing is something I'm just not part of, not partaking in that.
Yeah, I don't know, like I only started doing it again recently and I've mined like $300, you know. Which is nice. The price is so high right now that it's like, okay, it cost me $1.50 a day to run these cards electricity wise. So I ended up spending like $40 last month in electricity, but I made $240, you know.
Mystery
So-
to me.
Yeah.
You can set it up really
I don't know.
fast.
I don't know about that.
The scary part is that your computer is constantly telling you have a virus and you're like, okay, all right,
No, that's
I guess
so stressful.
ignore it. Yeah.
Yeah. But
So-
Coinbase is great. I transferred Matt some Coinbase money the other
Yeah.
night, so it worked pretty quick and easy, and you
Yeah.
can set up an account in minutes. Really doesn't
Yeah.
take much.
Nice.
We
Anyway.
came up with a game for Julie's birthday, and
Yeah.
I think I accidentally
it
invented a
was-
fun game.
It was round robin speed Jenga,
Jenga.
right? So you've got 20 seconds
Oh
to
my God.
take your Jenga piece and put it back up at the top. If you don't get it in time, you're out.
Hmm
And
That's so
if you knock it over,
stressful.
yeah, I know,
Yeah.
it's great.
And each
So-
time somebody knocks out and you re-rack. See, we had an iPad sitting there, and it would
Yeah, yeah.
it would do a 20-second timer and make a beep and start over every 20 seconds. And
Yeah.
every time somebody
That's
failed or it
hilarious.
fell, we'd have to take 5 seconds off the clock. So the next time,
Yeah.
15 seconds apiece. And everybody's
Yeah,
just
so
going
we got
in
down
circle.
at the last round. We finally got down to like 10 seconds apiece, and I ended up winning
Yeah.
because I had
Nice.
been
So
drinking.
that's your Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had casino chips.
There you go.
The casino chips
Oh.
actually had
There
Bitcoin
you
written
go.
on them, 0.00014 Bitcoin a piece, like
Yeah.
$5.
Yeah.
So when you lose,
Yeah.
you got to throw your Bitcoin on the table, and it
Yeah.
piles up. The
Wow.
winner gets all the Bitcoin.
Yeah. So I won $30.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It'll be
Hey, that's
worth
the
$1 million.
coronavirus times.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got all this.
Yeah. You'll be mad
Gotta
you
work
gave
it.
me that $1 million worth of Bitcoin one day.
Yeah, I know. Remember that time you won $1 million playing Jenga
Yeah.
God. In the before time.
in the before time?
Oh man, it's funny.
Oh, anything else? I think we've covered all the things. Like I
Yeah.
said,
Yeah,
Caitlin, I love having you on the show. You're
it's
always
great
fun
to
to
talk
hang
to
out
you
with.
guys
Yeah.
again. It's been a hot minute. Well, I guess
Yeah.
it could have been yesterday. Well, I don't know.
Well,
I don't
we-
know what time is anymore. But like, yeah, it's been great catching it.
we appreciate you coming on short notice too. We had to kind of rearrange
Yeah,
the
totally.
schedule at the last
My
second.
pleasure. I'm always here to be. Just kick that guy off.
Yeah.
That's
If you don't need me on.
that's
I'll
why
be
we
on.
don't have too much to talk about today. And plus it's a holiday, you know.
Yeah.
So,
All good.
yeah.
Word.
I'm here to chill.
If people want to find you on
But I
the
do probably need
interwebs,
Wait, hold
um,
on.
yeah, if people want to find you or your new updates or see some drawings on your stories and whatnot, where can they find you?
You can find me anywhere at Kate Cadieux, which I'll type in the chat because got one of those weird names with too many letters in it.
Uh-huh.
That's katecadieux.com is my website, or I'm at Kate Cadieux on any of your stuff, your apps and whatnot. If you want to listen to our podcast, you can obviously find it on the mograph.com website.
Yeah.
We also have cartoonfeelings.com, which maybe we'll have cool stuff on it. I don't know. We got the episodes on there too.
It's pretty.
And
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Again, stole a lot of that mid-century vibe for that. And we're at Feeling Cartoons on Instagram, which I'm turning into my own like animation, concept art, inspiration, whatever feed on Instagram.
Cool.
Which honestly is very pleasurable to curate that stuff. Like I never knew how fun that can actually kind of be. So feel free to check that out if you would like, if that seems cool to you.
Are you going to do a piece of art for every episode? Or
no, for episode artwork, we've just been using screen grabs and like putting our logo on it.
I got you.
Just easy stuff because it's too much. We'd love to do, hopefully we'll get to a point where we're doing some, original art for it because it's fun. And I actually want to do one I have some more posts ready to go, but I kind of want to add some artwork that doesn't exist yet. So I have to make it before I can do that. But yeah, I don't know. It's been a really nice project in this time, honestly. If there's one more way I can recommend our podcast, hopefully, is if you are a big nerd about cartoons specifically and animation stuff. I mean, it has been really nice as a way to just like not be thinking about any stressful stuff at this time. Like, especially like we are really geeking out on this stuff. Like we're being really over analytical and like nitpicky about stuff, but like it's fun. I look forward to us recording all the time because it's just nice.
Would you recommend people watching like the movies that you're talking about before listening to the episode?
We definitely
like getting a refresher.
There'll be spoilers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we super spoil it. It's right now. So the first few episodes that are up, we like didn't have much of a structure yet. So like if you haven't seen Pixar movies, like we're talking about anything that happened in any of them. It's a total free for all. So later on, we're getting into a better format where we spend like the first half of the show kind of talking about like the director or like the teams that made it, the credentials, like how it was received, what else was out at the time that it came out, just like a bunch of different stuff. And then the last half, we kind of will like actually do not scene by scene really per se, but we talk about like the meat of the movie. So the last half is like more of the spoiler zone and we try to avoid that. But with the episodes that are actually out right now, it's sort of like, you should just watch the movies probably. Unless you just want to hear somebody kind of tear apart Incredibles 2 and like, why did they make such a bad sequel to this good movie? I don't know. Which is like all we talk about.
Any of the Cars movies?
Not really. We acknowledge that they exist.
Yeah.
We're not mean about it, but no, we don't really talk about it.
Why is that? Why is that?
I don't like Cars. I don't hate it. I don't think Cars is bad. And this is basically all we say about Cars when we get into it. It's like, it's just not for us. It's not for me. And that's not.
It's for like, my kids.
Yeah,
like,
my kids
explicitly. Absolutely loved Cars. I have seen Cars 1, 2, and 3 a bazillion times. Yeah.
And that's like, I don't want to shit on any of these movies, especially because I love them. Even the ones where I'm like, this wasn't good or like whatever, like Brave. I talk about Brave and how it could have been so much better than it was, but I don't dislike Brave even. It's still a good movie. It's just not great in my opinion. And then we'll talk about like why we think that. And it's that kind of
Good Dinosaur.
I actually really don't like The Good Dinosaur at all.
Yeah, I couldn't get through it.
But I say this too, like Cars is like a step in that direction, but The Good Dinosaur to me is like, this movie was made for kids. Like it's not really for adults. And like every other Pixar movie kind of has that like, here's some stuff for adults in it. And The Good Dinosaur is so basic at the story level that they just don't. And I don't know why that is, or if they did it on purpose or not. It had a really troubled production. So it could just be that like, this is what they came out with. Yeah. But it just... Yeah, it's like there's nothing in there to really affect you as an adult.
I've never even heard of it. I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It kind of came and went.
That's so
it was
weird.
a weird... It's kind of a bummer because the premise was really cool at first, and then it felt like by the time that it came out... Because it was about... I was personally excited. Like the promo before the movie came out was like, humans and dinosaurs are like living together. And I thought it was going to be something a lot more like... Almost like Monsters, Inc. style, where maybe it's like dinosaurs in the modern times or like whatever. I love dinosaurs, so I thought it would be really cool. And it's just not that at all. It's something very strange. Yeah. Well, and people are saying in the chat, like Soul to me, which you haven't seen, but it's the exact opposite. It's like the exact opposite. And I've heard of people be like, my kid enjoyed it and was entertained, but like didn't get it at all. Because like the themes of that movie are really adult themes.
They are.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I liked it a lot. And I like when Pixar does that, but it's like Inside Out was this perfect, like 50-50, like kids can enjoy this and understand the plot. And also there's some like greater adult themes in here.
I loved
and
Inside Out. Yeah.
Soul like starts to go more into the adult territory even deep. And like leave behind some of the kid stuff. But it's good. I definitely recommend checking it out.
I think my biggest issue, like I want to watch Soul just like I wanted to watch Onward, you know? And there's a whole bunch of movies that I wanted to see, but I only want to see them in the theater, you know? Like I want to experience, like that's the one thing I loved about Pixar movies, even if they were bad, you know, and knowing going into it that it was going to be bad, it's like, I like the experience of I will go see every single Pixar and every single Disney animated film in the theater.
So load Disney Plus onto your Oculus Rift and put it in the theater setting where you can see all the seats.
Honestly.
Give myself a horrible migraine.
Get some popcorn.
I felt that way about Wolfwalkers. And and it's only on Apple TV. So if you have Apple TV, you can watch it. But I don't have a way to stream Apple TV because we don't have an Apple TV device. So I can't watch it on a TV. So I watched on my iPad, and I watched it with my Bose like sound canceling headphones. And it was like the closest I could get to that experience. I was like, I guess I'm just gonna have like a really inner experience and like try to. I don't know, but in a way, it almost made me just sad because I wanted to see that movie in the theater. And
I have a really hard time lately, like I was telling you at the beginning of, you know, before we got on, is that I have a really hard time watching movies right now. You know, they just it's I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that I've been on TikTok for way too long, you know, for like 7 months
melted
straight.
Your brain.
Yeah, I can only take things in 1 minute increments, you know. Like it really has to, I have to have my attention caught at all times. Like I really enjoyed, you know, WandaVision. I'm like just obsessed with Schitt's Creek right now. I'm on the last season. And I would binge the entire thing if I weren't so incredibly exhausted from having a child, you know,
like a life.
But it's like watching the idea of I want to watch Soul and I want to finish Onward. I bought Onward like the day it came out and I just haven't watched it. You know, I want to watch both of them, but I just have to be in the right mood. That's why I miss theaters so much.
Yeah, I desperately
because of that.
miss theaters. It's really hard.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't make enough time to go to the theater before, even though it's like one of my favorite activities.
Yeah.
And I was starting to do it more. And then coronavirus happened. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. Like, this sucks. And it does. It makes me really unhappy. But I don't want to leave it on that downer note, but I probably got to wrap up.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. We're getting out.
You'll have to...
I was just going to say, for like a little twist of positivity at the end, I'm going to continue to channel some Camp Mograph energy. And I'm going to manifest it. I'm going to manifest it so it does happen. And it's going to happen. And we're all going to be great.
It's going to be awesome.
This year, 2021. We're all going to be
in those hobbit houses and those tree houses.
Can I do you guys still have my books that I left behind?
I do. They're on my shelf right here. Yeah. Okay, do you want me to ship them to you? I can just ship them to you if you want.
If you don't mind, I mean, I'll pay for the shipping, whatever. But if that's too much of a hassle, we can also do that.
No, it's
I'll go
ship it.
There have been times when I want to have them and I'm like, I'm such an idiot. I can't believe I left those. Like in driving distance, like whatever.
Yeah.
But thank you for hanging on to them for me.
You're welcome.
You'll have to join Winbush's game night stream on Saturday night. I'd
love to
missed it. Yeah.
It looks fun. I've never watched it, but like I see them tweeting about it though. And I mean, they're all good games. So I'm like, this is a good idea. And I remember a few years ago, there was a group of us that used to do like Mario Kart and stuff.
Yeah.
Like 2016, 2017 era probably. But it was really great for like a year or two. We kept that thing going. It was really fun. So always down for Mograph game stuff.
Yeah, I missed it on Saturday because we just got a random giant project in our lap just out of the blue, which is great. But also it's like, okay, weekend
one of those
work.
good and bad.
Yeah.
No fun this weekend.
Yeah, so I completely forgot. And I was like over my head, like trying to like figure out some Octane technical issue or something. And Winbush was like, hey, we're hopping on. I was like, oh, man.
Have fun.
Sucks. I would much rather be playing that than figuring out technical details in Octane on Saturday night, but definitely join in, and you can find all the deets on his channel and whatnot. So
I gotta check that out.
Cool. Well,
get out of here.
We're gonna get out of here. You can rate us on iTunes, leave a review on your podcatcher of choice. Helps get our ratings up. You can also subscribe to help out with that. You can subscribe to the newsletter, which goes out every month or so. I'm a little behind. I don't know if one's going to go out until February. You know.
Hey, time's over again. Like, you got all the time in the world. It's not happening right now. Time is on hold.
I do what I want. You can say you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt with the Mograph logo tee, the Paul Babb Feel the Babb 2020 shirt. All the profits from that go to Doctors Without Borders. It is vintage. The Render Things t-shirt, hoodie, and long sleeve tee. That render is fire shirt, which you're only allowed to wear, ironically, unless you're shams. Yeah. And the Mograph blandishment throwback shirt as well. Check that out. All on Mograph.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Mograph.com. Hit us up, info@Mograph.com, and send us an email. You know, don't just do the story thing or add us or whatever. Send us a personal, real-life
do those as well.
email and say, hey,
send me a handwritten note.
This is what I want to hear about. Send us
on your finest stationery.
P.O. Box 554.
New York, New York.
75709er.
I love that New York is actually 00, I think.
Yeah.
We just said 75.
That's all. It's all Texas, right?
That's all Dallas.
The south of the United States.
There was some city growing up that my brother realized that every time there was a contest, you always had to send it to that P.O. box at that same place. Yeah. Every cereal General Mills ever had. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Brings me back.
Brings me back. And that's it. We're done. No more.
Cool.
Things.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Until next time. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Caitlin.
Have a good one.
Later, yo.
We're done now. Vacation time.
Vacation time. Which episode is this? This is episode 268.